everybody, welcome back to Baseline Farms. Hope everyone's doing well. So, this has been probably the 10th day since my last garden tour, maybe the 11th if I don't get this video right away. So, we have a donkey. So, you know, I grew a lot of vegetables this year. More vegetables than I have ever grown before in my life. And I'm totally pleased. I am happy how everything's turning out, but I have no idea how to preserve a majority of this food. I have never preserved this much food before ever. And so, you know, I've been going on the internet and I do have a book for preserving. It's a little bit older. I just found it yesterday. I found it in the barn. But yeah, so I ended up going to the supermarket the other day and just walking through the frozen food aisle to see what they freeze and what I can freeze. So obviously you could freeze a bunch of zucchini, which I have done that. I've cut it up into little quarters and froze a bunch of bags of zucchini. And then there's also like you could cut the zucchini into little zucchini noodles and you can freeze it that way. I've seen that at the supermarket the other day too. Now, as far as tomatoes, I know that I could make tomato sauce and tomato paste, ketchup, obviously anything that's tomato based. But my goodness, that is just so much work. There's so much work in the kitchen to be done. I have cucumber falling out of the refrigerator, just rolling out every time I open it. And I hurt my wrist. I cannot believe that I hurt my wrist too. It's such a busy time and I was not anticipating to sprain it. I didn't even know you could sprain your wrist. I've sprained my ankle many times, but never my wrist. And it hurts. It hurts. I can still use it. I can't lift up a lot of weight. So that's a big bummer. But yeah, so last week, Friday, I harvested a ton of cucumber. I harvested a few of our Roma tomatoes. They're just growing off the hook. I harvested a ton of cherry tomatoes. So later on today, before the heat sets in, because it's gonna be probably about 100 degrees, it's gonna be 100 degrees the rest of this week. Last week, I think it was just starting in, and the week before that, it was beautiful. Like 4th of July weekend, it was in the 80s. It was beautiful. But lately, these plants have been struggling in the heat, and I feel like I need to try to put some umbrellas because this garden, because it has drip, is doing fantastic. But the little garden is suffering. Every time the middle of the day comes, everything looks wilted, even though the ground is moist. They've just taken a beating from the heat. So let me just share with you what's happening in the garden. Now, I have been looking into a ton of pest control sprays because I did use the ladybugs and the ladybugs did fantastic, and they're still here in the garden. I do see them all over the place on the plants. But the amount of spider mites that I have is just ridiculous, and it's not on everything. They're mainly on 2 different plants, the cucumbers and one of the little cherry tomato plants. And then I noticed that one of my cherry tomato plants, they're just not looking too good, and I don't know what's wrong with them, so I'll show you that in a minute. But let me share with you this cucumber patch. So look how profusely it's growing. There's so much cucumber in here. And I've been looking at how to preserve cucumber, and it seems like the only way you can do it is by fermenting them or pickling them. Now, I did watch a video of a gal, she pureed it and put it into ice cube trays and then froze it that way so that she could use them in water and use it as to have cucumber water, which I thought that was kind of a unique way of doing it. I noticed a lot of people, when they preserve their tomato paste, they put them in little ice cube trays and then they pop them out and they put them in Ziploc bags and they freeze it that way, which I thought that was a great idea because it'll eliminate some space. It won't take up a lot of space in the freezer. But these cucumbers have not disappointed. I have two different types of cucumbers in here. I have a Lake Valley cucumber and burpees. And look, I mean, I haven't picked them in 2 days. So I know there's gonna be some massive amount of cucumbers. So here's one of them. Oh, here's another one. Oh my goodness, there's so many. So I'm definitely gonna have to pick out some cucumber and definitely pickle them today or do something with them today because there's just so many. I'm spotting one right here. You see that? Right there. Like, oh my goodness. There's just, I know, there's a ton. They're huge. I don't want them to get that big, but I just don't have the time to continue to come out here and pick them right now because this is a very busy season for us in the landscaping business. We've been changing out flowers. I've been changing out containers, and I wanted to take you along with me to change out some of the containers, but it has been so hot that I just want to get the job done and get home as soon as possible so I can come play in the garden. But by the time I get home, it's hot. So this is how the cucumber patch is doing. So fantastic. I mean, look, do you see those cucumbers in there? They're just huge. They're so, oh my gosh. Yeah, I definitely need to collect some cucumbers today for sure. So let me just walk you over here to the squash. So here's our squash plant and it's doing just fantastic. We haven't had any issues with spider mites or anything like that with this squash plant. And it has been giving us so much squash. It's been nuts. Okay, so my tomato plants have gotten completely out of control. This is what happens when you stop trimming off the suckers and stop trellising them. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that we just got so overwhelmed with work and, you know, just the farm and being new landscapers. We're literally new to landscaping. And John just got a bid for 2 big parks, so he has been so busy working on those parks that we haven't really been spending a lot of time really working on the garden. So the times that I do work on the garden are on the weekends or when it's cooler, like right now. So let me show you all of these tomatoes. Now this is Aroma variety by Burpees, and oh my goodness. Look, oh, do you see that cluster? Oh my goodness, let me get you a better view. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That's so crazy. This whole tree, I mean, tomato bush is filled. Look at that. Filled with tomatoes. Now, there are a ton of spider mites on this particular plant, and I feel like maybe I might be having to spray with some neem oil because I don't want it to destroy these plants. I just don't want them to be destroyed, which is a big bummer because I've been good so far with not having to spray anything. So that's a big bummer. But my goodness, look at this. You can't even see the tomatoes. There's so many tomatoes in there. I mean, oh, there's a bug. Oh, what the heck kind of, oh my God, what kind of bug is that? I don't know what kind of bug that is. Oh, that looks like a tick. I don't know, guys. There's some bugs in there. So I'm definitely gonna have to do something with this mess because that is just so much. Now here are the other Roma tomatoes. These are by, wait a minute, let me think. These are by Botanical Interest and San Marzano. So these are the San Marzano. These are the indeterminate variety, and this one right here are the determinate variety. So, my goodness. That's just, I can't even walk through there because it's so bushy. Now right over here in front of these Roma tomatoes, I do have a patch of cucumber. Now I'm probably not going to put a patch of cucumber with the tomatoes again, just because the cucumbers need quite a bit more water than the tomatoes. Now, look at that. You can't even walk through. Look at all these sun golds. So these sun golds they have not disappointed either. They have been giving me so many. I've harvested so many sun golds. It's like a little trap in there. You can't even walk through. There's so many. Now I did stake all of these up, but we did have wind coming from the south. We had wind coming in from the south that literally toppled these over. If you could see, they're kind of leaning towards one way. So over here on this side, next to the sun golds, we do have some hybrids, and they are blushing. Like, look at that. Looking so good. These are the burpee slicers, and they're doing fantastic. Everything's doing really, really good. Now, there are some that cracked. I noticed that this variety particular, if they do get way too much water, they do crack way easier than some other ones. So I don't know. Now, over here, we have some spinach, and I think I'm definitely going to plant some more spinach next year, just like this. I did not know that the spinach was going to grow so well in between the tomato plants, so I feel like next year I'm definitely going to plant more spinach in between the tomatoes, because that really worked. They really do like the shade, so that's awesome. Now over here are the peppers. Oh, look at this. So I am about 5'3", and this ginger is almost as tall as me. Can you believe that? Look at that. My goodness, that's so awesome. Okay, look at all of these bell peppers. They are doing so good. Oh, this one has a little bottom rot. Oh no. Let me get my snips. Take that off. Let me go grab my snips. Okay. This is a big bell pepper. So this one, unfortunately, looks like it's gotten a little rotten at the bottom, probably because too much water. That usually is the cause of it. If you have a little bit of bottom rot like this, it's usually because there's just too much water. And the soil is moist. Man, this drip has been a game changer. I haven't had to water anything except for the plants for the locations, and man, that's exciting. I cannot wait till everything gets irrigation. So we have a ton of bell pepper in here. Now I know you can't see a lot of them because it's like a jungle. So look at that. Do you see those? Look how cool that is. That is so awesome. And then I have these sweet banana peppers right here that are doing so good. Look at those banana peppers. That is so awesome. So I have so many bell peppers in here, and I'm going to harvest a bunch of bell peppers, a bunch of tomatoes. Let's see what else we're going to harvest today. I think that's pretty much it, and squash, because I don't think I have anything else to harvest but tomatoes, squash, and bell peppers, and maybe some of these little pepperoncinis, or these banana peppers. But look at this. Do you see how everything is kind of like tilted that way because of the wind and the heaviness? Man, what am I gonna do? I think I'm just gonna leave this like this for right now, because if I were to move any of these branches, they're so heavy that I'm afraid they're gonna break. So, wow. I think next year, for sure, I'm gonna have to use a cattle panel or something to really trellis these up so they're nice and strong, so they just don't topple over with the fruit. That's good to know, because I never had this amount. So here is the lemongrass that we harvested some lemongrass the other day and made some lemongrass soup, which was so delicious. I want to make some more of that and freeze it so that way we could use it for the winter time. Look at this. Look at this banana pepper. How cool is that? It's huge. These bell peppers are just huge. Do you see that? Oh, let me get you a better view. Do you see those bell peppers? Oh, they're just so awesome. Look at that in there. Like a little bell pepper jungle. Look at that. Oh, guys, this is so exciting. You see that? There's another one right in there. Now over here is the watermelon. And you guys, we have some watermelon. Look at those two. Oh, there's three. Oh my goodness. Look at those cute little watermelons. Now these are sugar babies. And so that is so exciting. So I know if we have three over here, there's probably a ton of them inside there. So that's so exciting. And then on this side, we have the cantaloupe. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to try. Oh, there's another one. Look, there's another watermelon. Oh, look at that. Do you see that little guy? Ah! That is so exciting. I cannot wait to try that watermelon. That's my first watermelon ever. And then look at these beautiful sunflowers. Oh, look at that. Isn't that just so awesome? Oh, breezy today, but it's supposed to be 100 degrees today. Now, over there we have the pumpkins and the spaghetti squash and the, what are they called? These pumpkins are supposed to be some ginormous pumpkins. They're called jack-o'-lanterns. That's what they're called. Jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. And I do have a few popping up here. Oh, there's one right there. See that right there? Little jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. And a ton of spaghetti squash. So that is just awesome. I love spaghetti squash. And then I have another little pumpkin right here. And I hope... You see that little guy? I don't know where he came from, but I think I can make, like maybe some pumpkin pie with that. Hope. So now, over here, we have our heirloom tomatoes. And these are by Lake Valley. Now, I feel like it's pretty moist. Like this one's getting a little smushy, I don't know. But these are looking really good. And compared to the other ones, the hybrids, I like these. The way these turn out are nice. The other ones, I don't know. They just look a little odd. They crack really easily, and I have them all on the same watering cycle. But for some reason, those ones just did not do really well, like these ones. And so I might just continue to grow the Lake Valley. They seem to be doing really, really good. So now over here we have our cherry tomatoes, Cherry Falls, and they are doing so well that, as you can see, look at that. It has some, this is caused by spider mites. And this particular, although it has given us a ton of cherry tomatoes, a ton. They were the first one to have cherry tomatoes, first ones to ripen. But for some reason, the pests really like this variety. I have no idea why, but they definitely like this particular one because none of the other tomato plants suffered this much damage like this one did. So that's a real bummer. I'm thinking I might spray some neem oil on the plants just so that way they're not suffering like this, because I don't see any ladybugs in here, and they're just looking kind of rough. So I'm probably going to do that maybe later on tonight. Now over here we have some Cherry Falls, and these are pole cherries. Now these pole cherries are doing fantastic. I have collected quite a few pole cherries from here, but I noticed that the plants are turning kind of funky like this. Do you see that? They're kind of drying out like this. And I don't know why. Like they're looking discolored. And they just started. And then the fruit started looking a little odd. Like it started looking like this. Do you see that? It's not quite red. It's like it looks a little discolored. So I don't understand why it's turning out like that. I don't know if it's, I have no idea. But but it's looking like it's dying, and it's not. So some of the tops are drying off. So I'm not sure what the problem with this particular, with this particular brand, because this has been happening, I want to say, since the beginning. I did have a tomato plant popped in here, same one, and it started looking rough like this. And I don't know if it's from spider mites, or I'm not even too sure, because the bottom half of this tomato tree or bushes, they look nice, but the top half, they just look rough, like they're just drying out like this. You see that? So I don't really know what the problem is with this one. Now on the other side we have these Shimmering Hybrids, and these Shimmering Hybrids are doing magnificent. Wow, they are doing so well. I just saw a cluster of let me see if I can grab it, a cluster of these Shimmering Hybrids. So I just saw one right back here. Let's see. Oh, they're so pretty. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? These are so cool looking. Now let's try it. Let's see how delicious they taste. Oh, wow. Oh, these are really good. Oh, they're kind of sweet. They're delicious. They're a bit sweet right when you bite into it. The skin is nice and soft and tender. And the inside's pretty meaty. I like these. They're really good. They're not like the regular tomatoes. They're they have a tomato flavor, but they taste a little sweet right when you bite into them. That's interesting. So now these corn are not doing too good. I don't know if I didn't plant them close enough together. I don't know what the problem is, but I noticed that there's little black bugs on them, like these little black beetles. And I do see a ton of ladybugs in here, but I don't know if they're the bugs that eat the corn. And I don't know if I'm gonna plant corn again, because it's so cheap to buy from the farmer's market and things like that. So I don't know, maybe not, we'll see. So here is the lemon tree. This lemon tree was doing so well, and it had so many flowers, but the birds have been eating it. So all of the flowers that I had, all the blossoms, are all gone, because the birds come down and they snag the blossoms. So I'm gonna have to put a net over this lemon tree. And that's a really big bummer, because I was so looking forward to getting some lemon this summer, but by the looks of it, I think we're gonna have to wait until next summer. Now the summer is not over yet, and we do have a long growing season, so there's still time. Right here we have some Jade Beans, and they're looking so good. Let me show you. Do you see I think those are little beans right there. All right, so over here in this garden bed, now this is where we planted our onions, the little onion sleeves or slips or cloves or whatever you want to call them, that my dad brought over. And I already have a couple of them growing. Can you see that? So I have these two, I have one right there, I have another one right here. So they're doing really well. And if you could see this bush right here in the back, that is a tomato sucker that I clipped off a tomato tree, popped it right there in the ground, and it started growing. But I have not received any tomatoes from that tomato bush. So I'm just leaving it there just to see what happens, because I was really shocked that it was growing. Now, let's go off to the little garden, and I'll share with you what's happening in the little garden. And the little garden is looking kind of sad. I don't know what's wrong with my yellow squash. For some reason, the yellow squash just looks so droopy all the time, and it just looks so sad all the time. So here in this little garden, it has been producing quite a bit. So these are some Thai chili plants that I had planted in with the basil. I popped those two out. and I'm going to plant that in the big garden when I find a spot for it. So here are some zucchini. Look at that. Just growing so tremendously. And here are all of our onions. Look how awesome those are doing. And let's see what else we have. Oh, here's some more. So these bell peppers are definitely not doing as well as the other ones. Look at that. I mean, the other ones seem way bigger, but the little chilies, banana peppers, have been doing really well. Now these are the zucchini black beauty that I got from Burpees, and I've already harvested, I want to say 2 or 3 from that patch right there. Now over here we have some eggplant. Oh, I see a couple eggplant ready to be harvested. Now these are not like a normal eggplant, the purple eggplant that you see at the market. I'll show you what they look like. So that's what they look like right there. Those are called Kermit Eggplants. Now I grew a ton of these because I like a particular dish called Thai green curry. And in the Thai green curry, they put those little eggplant in there. And they were really hard to find when I was shopping for them at the supermarket. So when I saw that in the Johnny Select Seed catalog, I decided to buy a package. And so these, all of the Kermit eggplants that you see here are seeds that I harvested from the eggplant of last year. So that's awesome. I didn't even have to buy the seeds again. So over here we have some more red onion. There's a ton of red onion growing, popping up everywhere. I did mulch these beds last week and they are doing so well. But over here, here's my yellow squash, and it's just not looking good. The soil is moist, everything's doing well in the soil, but as far as the plants growing, they're just looking a little sad. They're not looking, you know, hardy or thick like those squash. Now over here we have some green onion. I did harvest a bunch of green onion, and I'm freezing it so that way I could store it and use it for next year. But then those are some leftovers. But I'm probably just going to, again, harvest it and probably put it in the freezer. So that's pretty much what's happening in the little garden. Oh, the blackberry bush. The blackberry bush has a new little, I guess, cane you call it. And then I noticed that I'm getting some little blackberries right in there. So that's awesome. Maybe it heard me talking last week saying that it wasn't producing anything and started producing. So that's fantastic. Now over here we have our edamame right here, and the edamame is doing extremely well, growing profusely, but no edamame yet. I see there's a couple little flowers right there. Here is some more lemongrass, and these shoots are not as big as the one in the big garden. So I feel like I might have to fertilize that. Maybe it's just the way that it's in that container. I don't know. It is doing fantastic. This one just went to flower. Huh. That's crazy. So I just planted, here is the basil patch, and it's doing so good. The basil is growing so fantastic. The Thai basil is doing well. And then we have this holy basil in the back here with this mint. Now I did watch a video from a vlogger, and she did make some basil tea, and I think I'm gonna make some basil mint tea with what we have. So this is what's happening on the farm. The animals are doing fantastic. The lambs are doing great, and they're getting so much bigger. And do you hear the rooster? So now we have 2 roosters. They're both crowing. At first I thought I was only gonna have 1 rooster, and maybe the other one was a chicken. No, they're both roosters, and they're both fighting with one another. But they're so sweet right now until they attack you. So we're definitely gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with those roosters. But that's pretty much it. So until then, thank you for watching. Take care, be safe, and I'll do some more cooking videos too, so I can show you how I preserve. Maybe I'll do the pickling. So I don't know, maybe today we'll do some pickling. All right, so take care, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.